Hello, Lightworker family. I'm really excited about this video. I'm going to be answering a question that was posted to a video here on my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kaylee Bohm. I'm a professional psychic in service of Lightworkers all over the world. And I'm new to YouTube and sharing my expertise here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the Lightworker family. Okay, so I had a wonderful new subscriber ask the question, if we are light workers, have we incarnated before? I love the topic of incarnation. I find it to be extremely personal to the individuals that I work with, meaning I always ask, do you have resonance with reincarnation or singular lifetimes? It really doesn't matter to me as a reader. I just simply support my clients with whatever resonates for them and using their language and terminology. So first and foremost, if you resonate with reincarnation, meaning the person who asked this question, if you personally resonate with reincarnation, then I will say in 10 years of readings, I would say it's a very small subset of individuals that I've read for, Lightworkers specifically, whom I sense their energy is new to physical life on Earth. So whether that means they have had a strong spiritual presence here on Earth, but they're new to physical incarnation, or they've been here energetically or in other forms, but they're new to a human life experience. I have seen this. Oftentimes, I will perceive it and read it in a client, and then they too will say, oh, I've always felt that way, or they'll hold a deep resonance with that as well. One could assume that if a person hadn't physically incarnated as a human before, that perhaps their life could be harder. And then you could also assume the opposite to be true. Oh, if they're, new to life on Earth, perhaps they're not holding a lot of trauma, therefore perhaps their life is easier. I think it's really kind of up to the specific person. It also matters their soul archetype, if they're elemental or celestial, their childhood, their ancestral lineage. Just there's so many factors, but ultimately I would say the subset of light workers who have not physically incarnated as humans before do tend to be really, really advanced in their psychic abilities, their hypersensitivities. And that doesn't mean that they're more psychic than other people. They just tend to be operating on wavelengths very powerfully versus kind of grounded in the human connection. And by the way, my background began in holistic healthcare, and so a lot of my work is to work with all parts of the self, spiritual, energetic, and physical. So quite often when I have a client, a Lightworker client who hasn't incarnated physically a lot or ever, then a lot of the support and work that I do with them is to connect, ground, and integrate them with these more elemental, these more physical aspects to life on Earth, and how to integrate their spiritual self, their energetic self, their soul self really into their physical body. So yes, it happens. I would say it's rare. It's not like an everyday occurrence per se. And even with the individuals who don't have a deep history or long history of physical human incarnations, they will often show me like a deep resonance and connection with Deva spirits or the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom or some form of physical life on Earth, but maybe just not a deep resonance with human life. But I would say the predominance of light workers, or the larger set of light workers that I've worked with, have had past lives here, and often their past lives have been linked to times where they have acquired certain masteries and have evolved and ascended through the human experience in order to assist and serve humanity. So it really doesn't matter your soul age or how many times you've incarnated here on Earth. to relate to any type of hierarchy of Lightworker or expertise or wisdom of Lightworker. Yeah, everyone just kind of has their own blueprint of energetic medicine and spiritual gift to offer the collective Lightworker family here on Earth. Let me go back to this question. Okay, if we're Lightworkers, have we incarnated? Yeah, so yeah, many Lightworkers, if not most Lightworkers, I would say, have incarnated. So again, you know, being a Lightworker doesn't mean that you're not here experiencing physical human life over and over and over. I do feel called to kind of talk about this concept of enlightenment with this topic. So I think the concept of enlightenment is really interesting because I think oftentimes there's a connotation associated with enlightenment as it pertains to this ideal of perfection. And enlightenment, of course, has nothing to do with perfection. It has everything to do with an ascension process that allows for one to transcend the self and enter into a light frequency, which is inherent truth, inherent healing, inherent love that connects us all and connects all creation in the universe. And so, yeah, to work with light doesn't mean that you're suddenly perfect as a human or that you're not holding trauma in your energy field or you're not holding pain and suffering from your ancestors in your energy field. It just means that, you know, while you also experience that and experience human life, you're also tapped into and attuned to an ability to connect to light frequency as a form of consciousness. So enlightenment really just means, okay, you've been able to, you have a roadmap for ascending into that consciousness. It doesn't mean every moment, every second of every day, you're operating at that consciousness level. We are still human and mortal and imperfect. But our ability to tap into that as Lightworkers is really important to maintain and foster that connection as much as possible. So another thing that I want to share regarding reincarnation is, in my practice, the way I view an energy field when I do readings is I compartmentalize it into three categories or three layers of the energy field, we could say. The outermost layer is our moment-to-moment experiences, that we don't collect energy in this outer layer. It's just simply the passing moments that we're experiencing and they're then being backlogged. So that's the outermost layer, how we're feeling precisely in the moment, what we are currently present to. And then the middle layer of the energy field is where we've compiled and categorized all of our past experiences within the current lifetime. So childhood trauma, any type of past wisdoms attained, wisdom attained and or traumas that we're holding on to. And we want to keep that as clear and clean as possible, of course. That's why we do trauma healing work, etc., energy clearing work. And then the deepest layer is where we hold our connection to past lives, our ancestors, as well as the Akashic record. So in this deepest layer of the energy field that I read, there's like three levels to that deepest layer. The top level of that layer is your own past lives, if that's of resonance for you. The middle level of that deepest layer is your ancestral lineage, the experiences of your ancestors, and then the deepest of the bottom layer of the energy field is the Akashic record, and the Akashic record is essentially everything that's ever existed, all time, space, etc. So the reason I bring this up is when we're looking at reincarnation and Lightworkers tend to have a lot of connection to the Akashic record, and which is essentially the universal record. And so For instance, when light workers, well, okay, not even light workers, just human beings in general, if you're operating at a surface level where you're not doing much healing or processing work to awaken or enlighten yourself to traumas that you could be holding, and you're just kind of living at the surface and living in your head and not connecting to the deeper energies within you, then oftentimes you'll manifest experiences that will attempt to pull you into those deeper layers of consciousness or of the psyche or of the self, right? So as we evolve as human beings, we do tend to always want to become attuned and aligned with our self-healing mechanisms. And so when we leave kind of that surface layer of the mind and then go inward into that middle level of energy field, our past experiences to ourselves, when we start to do that work, whether it's through talk therapy or somatic therapies or Reiki or healing or intuitive readings, nature, walking, meditation, whatever you personally do to connect to healing your own experiences from this current lifetime, what happens is you will reach a point where you will be grounded and centered and healed enough to where your soul will then enlighten you into the deeper layers and levels where you start to work on past life traumas that you may be holding on to, and then go deeper into ancestral traumas that you may be going into. And then a lot of light workers then go even deeper into the depths of working with the Akashic record. So even if a light worker doesn't have a lot of karmic buildup in their middle energy field that holds their past experiences within the current lifetime, nor do they have a lot of karmic energy built up in their past life bank because they haven't had a lot of physical human being incarnations, then they're still going to be active in working with whether it's their ancestral lines that they were born into, as well as, most importantly for light workers, the Akashic record. And this is another way in which light workers are operating differently in the world, is light workers are doing so much self-work and awakening so much so that they're then able to take on things for the collective. And so this is another kind of identifying attribute that I see in my clients that allows for me to deem them a light worker. It's like, oh, okay, so you're not just working on your own stuff. As you're working on your own stuff, it's tapping into the collective, and you're here to, move the dial in order to serve the collective, etc. And so oftentimes these light workers are deeply connected to this deepest level and layer of their energy field beyond just their own current lifetime experiences. So I hope this answered your question, if light workers have incarnated or not. I would add, if you're asking this question because you feel as though you have not incarnated here, I would say listen to that. I would, because I've always been, in those moments where I've done readings for people, I'd say, ooh, do you feel like super new here? Do you feel like you've been here before? And it's typically then they say, no, I don't feel like I've been here. I feel like I've had an aerial view before. I feel like I've maybe been a spirit guide, or I, connect to the ocean or plant life or trees. But sometimes people just have not a lot of deep connection to humanity and society and the concept of human life. And they, that's just the way it is. And if you feel that way, then that's perfectly normal for you. And other people, if you ask them, do you feel like you've had a lot of lives here? They're like, oh, I've had so many lives here. I feel so ancient and old as dirt on a soul level. And that's normal as well for light workers. So thank you so much for your question, and many blessings to you all. And thank you so much for doing the deeper work, whether you've been here many times in physical human form or here as plant life, animals, spirit guides, however you've shown up here. If you've been here many times, or this is your first time, thank you so much for showing up with your light. and for connecting us all to the collective light as well as the collective Akashic records, so that we may uplift all of life here on earth. So many blessings to you, and I'll see you in the next video.